Hello, this is the Woke Centrist and Andrew 420 Mainzer.
Yep.
Welcome to Mixed Movie Arts Chats. What we're going to talk about today is a super ridiculous movie. I know it's a lot lower brow than what you would expect from the mixed martial arts community, but I just want to do something goofy, off color, not super serious today. And we're going to talk about the movie Freddie Got Fingered.
Yep.
Yeah, I have to say, I have to preface this by very huge Tom Green fan. I kind of consider Tom Green the Andy Kaufman of my generation.
Oh, okay.
He is definitely a character of a person. Like if you listen to the Tom Green of today, very different person. I believe in his heyday, he was basically always performing a character. So his public persona was always a performance of some sort,
Right.
which is kind of like, the whole Andy Kaufman deal.
You know,
But anyway,
I'm actually not that familiar with Andy Kaufman. I've heard of him a little bit, but I'm not that familiar with him.
yeah, he was, I guess you'd say comedic actor. I don't know if he did stand up. I think he did do like some bits. Um, but I know Tom actually started career as a young stand-up comic in Canada. I think he started like really young, Tom, at the age of like 16 or something. He was doing open mics.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he did start off doing open mics, and then he got his little show, and then Joe got on MTV, and then that's when he became a big deal. He married what's her name for a while? What's her name? Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore?
Yeah, they were married for a while.
Oh,
Maybe not.
she has a
She has a
cameo in
cameo in the
Freddie Got
movie.
Fingered. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That must be why.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. But yeah, I always thought Tom was a groundbreaking comedian. It's kind of hard to describe him because he wasn't doing a whole lot of stand up during a show. I don't think he was doing any stand up at all. But he was just like a really goofy person, especially the persona as displayed in the movie.
Yeah.
All right, so I know if you want to go ahead and go through the plot, the movie opens up with with Gordon. So that's the name of Tom Green's character, Gordon
Right.
Brody, and he's displaying some of his drawings, and he's doing like a little bit of narration. So you get to see. I think he has three characters that he shows us up front, like the X-ray cat.
Oh, yeah.
Um, the other two were, I think it was Jesus, what was it, like fish or something?
You know, I don't remember. I remember the X-ray
No, no,
cat.
beavers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was Beavers.
Yeah, there were the beavers, and there were some other characters I can't quite remember. But he's slowly like, as he's narrating, it sounds like he's slowly dipping into madness.
Yeah.
He's basically getting crazier and crazier,
He
and
sounds like that a lot throughout the movie.
yeah. And then in the end, it's like he kind of has like some type of weird psychological breakdown. It sounds like, and
Yeah.
then but he's actually what he's doing is he's preparing himself to go to Hollywood. So he takes a skateboard, rides through the mall while a cop is chasing him, and we get to see his skateboarding skills on display in the movie.
Yep.
I don't know told too much about skateboarding, but definitely does it better than me.
Oh yeah, I haven't skateboarded since I was probably in elementary school, I think.
Yeah, and then he goes to the mall. There's like some security guards chasing him. He ends up running into the door,
Yeah.
And he exits. So what he's doing is just traveling on his way to the bus station, and he meets his parents there, and they're really puzzled. Why? Well, especially his mother's puzzled of why he would want to move to LA to work in a cheese sandwich factory.
Yeah.
But
The promising cheese
Gord,
sandwich industry.
yeah, Gord tries to explain that he wants to become the next Charles Schultz. It's like I want to become the next Charles Schultz. He says it like 3 or 4 times. He
Yeah.
likes to repeat himself a lot,
Yeah.
like a like an autistic person.
Yeah.
But his parents are actually happy that he's moving out. It sounds like this is like his first job or something, and he's like 28 years old.
Yeah.
So he's like the ultimate basement dwelling boy who's lived with their parents in a basement. He's not had a job. He hasn't really done much. Like I I lived with my mom for a long time before I moved out. So I kind
Yeah.
of get like his situation, but with him, he's definitely a super extreme oddball.
Yeah.
So it's
Definitely. He seems like like you mentioned, he seems like autistic or Aspergery, at least mildly or something like that.
yeah, because he doesn't seem to do well in a working environment as we kind of
Yeah.
go throughout the movie. It's like, Jesus Christ, what's wrong with this guy?
He can't focus on boring, unbearable shit for more than like 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So, his parents are super happy that he's moving out, and the dad gets him a LeBaron with the license plate that says number one son.
Yeah.
And if you don't, I guess if you're not, I'm trying to think, because this came out in 2001, so that model of LeBaron isn't exactly like a new model or anything.
It didn't look new for 2001 either.
Yeah, so it's newer than, it's actually probably a newer model of convertible than I had not
What
too
did you
long
have?
ago. I had an '89 Celica convertible,
Oh, okay.
so it looked like a car from the '80s, basically. So,
Oh, okay.
so I guess Freddie, who is Gordon's brother, gets extremely jealous that they're getting Gordon like a LeBaron, and they're like super happy about his achievement of moving out.
Yeah.
And then
And
and
his
Gordon has
brother, sorry, just a side note on his brother, the actor who plays him, he's one of the two Jewish friends that Harold and Kumar in the Harold and Kumar movies, and also he's in the American Pie movies too.
is that him?
Yeah,
Wait,
I
are you
forget
talking?
what character he plays in the American Pie movies, but he's in those
I know who
too.
you're talking. I know the American Pie movie guy. He's the one that has to poop at home or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah,
also the guy that gets what Stifler's bomb.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so it's that guy.
yeah.
I actually had him confused because I thought at first I thought it was Tom Hanks' son. I was like, kind of looks like Tom Hanks'
Oh
son.
yeah,
Kind of looks like Colin Hanks a little bit.
yeah. You remember
But yeah,
him from the Harold of Kumar movies too? Harold and Kumar.
I've only seen the first one, but I think for me the most memorable role is American Pie.
Yeah,
And then in the movie they call him Shipbreak.
yeah, yeah. That
And
like
I've actually
he's part of how the word MILF came about.
yeah, and I've actually met Shipbreak in real life. I completely forgot about that.
Really?
Yeah, I was working at this really high-end nightclub in San Diego. So it's like the nightclub that celebrities visit.
Oh, okay.
So I think I was outside and he was like having a smoke break. We were actually taking a smoke break together. I was like, "Hey, you're shit break, aren't you?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm shit break."
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, I looked at him, I was like, "Hey, is that are you shit break?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, I played shit break." I was like, "Oh, cool, man." So yeah,
That's
I've
awesome.
actually met him at a nightclub once.
Oh, that's
But
pretty cool.
anyway, so yeah, they get into a little bit of argument, and then Gordon's all like, "I don't see two LeBarons here. I just see one LeBaron." Like a stupid like little spat. And yeah, after that, he basically makes a vow to make his daddy proud.
Yeah.
There's so many weird quotes in this. This the way the stuff he says is just really strange.
Yeah.
Um, and then as he's like leaving to Hollywood, he tells some old people, "Get the fuck out of the way," as he waves in his LeBaron.
Yeah, right after it says, "I'll make you proud." Then he almost runs them over.
So yeah, the dad celebrates his departure. Um, like you could definitely tell by this point that Gordon was definitely some type of burden on
Yeah.
his dad because there's after he leaves, there's like a little bit of a celebration there.
Yeah. Well, and you can tell from that first part too that his dad is like the stereotypical overbearing father, and his mom is the stereotypical coddling, overprotective mother.
Yeah, and his dad too is kind of is like an Archie Bunker type who's kind of a little bit bigoted.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good comparison.
And then I'll bring that up. This is some of the language he uses is not that acceptable today.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
was
like
actually when I remember going in the theater and watching that, I remember it being still a little jarring.
yeah. Well, it's
But
all the whole movie is shock humor, right? So
yeah,
makes
it's
sense.
full of shock humor.
Yeah.
So as they're leaving, well, Tom starts his road trip. His first stop, he sees um, a horse's penis, and then he freaks out. And then he runs over to the horse and starts shaking its penis while screaming, "Look at me, Daddy! I'm a farmer." It's like Jesus Christ! Like, what the hell are we watching here?
Hmm.
So that was like the one stop he made on his trip from Portland to Hollywood.
And that's one
Um,
of that's one of the gags because there's just like he just goes and randomly does that, and then it just cuts to okay, he's arrived now.
and then so he stops by at this animation studio. He's just scoping it out. I think it's called Radioactive. And then after he takes a little scope out, um, he goes to his job from the studio, and it's a cheese sandwich factory.
Yeah.
So we get to see him work. Well, we don't really get to see him work because he like 2 or 3 seconds into him standing on a production line, he jumps onto the production line and he grabs like a giant salami and he places it on his crotch and exclaims that he's a sexy boy. And then he keeps repeating ding dong. And I think he slaps somebody in the face with the salami,
Ding
one of the
dong,
workers.
ding dong.
So after he gets off work, I think it was just a lunch break actually.
Yeah.
Everyone's going out to lunch. So he heads
And
his
then
way
no
back.
one even responded at all to him doing that either.
No, they didn't. It's like he did not exist.
Yeah.
So they were just like trying to do their jobs, and he's just acting like a crazy fool
Yeah.
with a salami sticking out of his crotch. All right, so we at this point we kind of get the gist that he cannot work a regular job. It's just not in him.
Yeah.
he has no he has like an extreme lack of focus. He we see this throughout the movie. He's not able to stay focused very much,
Yeah.
which is like why I think there's kind of I don't think he's trying to play an autistic person. I don't even think that's like part of the motivation of the character at all. I think he's just playing a person who's outlandish and ridiculous for the most part.
Yeah, I think you're right. That seems the way to me too.
All right, so during that lunch break, he goes into the lobby of Radioactive Studios and he kind of cons his way past the security guard by saying Japan 4. And then security guard
And a
is
bunch
just,
of other random shit.
yeah, he's just kind of doesn't know what to do. And he ends up getting up into the building. So yeah, he meets the secretary of I think his name is David Davidson's secretary,
Yeah.
played by Drew Barrymore.
Yeah. Who we were
And he's like,
talking you were saying before we started this that is she Tom Green's wife at this point?
I believe so. I
Yeah.
believe that's this. If they're not married, they're dating.
Okay.
But their marriage, I don't think it lasted more than 2 years, but I believe
Okay.
they were romantically linked at the time of that of the movie, of at least her
Okay.
cameo.
Oh,
So, so while he's trying to get up into David Davidson's office, he doesn't even know who the name of the CEO is yet. He's just kind of fishing for information. Finally, she asks, like, what is he doing here? Where are you going? Just basically trying to get rid of him. And he says that he's a coroner and that David Davidson's wife has died.
right.
So she starts crying. She's like, Linda, oh no.
Yeah.
And and then like shortly after that, he starts hitting on her, like
Yeah.
while she's crying of her boss's dead wife.
Yeah.
so, so she's like basically is grossed out by that and tells him to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
But I
I
believe he
didn't mean
finds
that.
out what. Then she tells him he went to lunch,
Yeah.
so he goes looking for her.
Yeah, that's like the first part where especially if you've seen the movie more than once, you know that yeah, you have to be fucking twisted to like this movie.
Yeah, it's out there. It's definitely a little black in humor. It's really edgy. It's extremely edgy. I'm not gonna say it's
Yeah,
not even partially
especially
edgy.
a
Just
one part later on that I'm thinking about.
there's a
It
lot
happened.
of weird shit in the movie.
Yeah, yeah, I'm thinking of the
We'll
part that
talk about my
happened.
favorite scene later, but I think we might be talking about the same scene.
I was thinking about one that happens in a hospital.
Yeah, that's the same scene that we're talking about here.
I thought so.
All right, and we'll get to that eventually. Um, so yeah, he shows up to David Davidson's lunch in a constable's uniform. I have no idea why he chose that disguise. Obviously, an American cop wouldn't wear that.
That hat, it looked like well, like you said, like a British constable. Like, 'cause he would
And it's
never
not
believe.
even like, and it's not even from like maybe what the early turn of the century. It's not something that a constable would actually wear.
Yeah, yeah, that's
And
true.
it kind of points that out. But Davidson does actually look at the drawings, And he tells Gordon they're actually good,
Yeah.
but they're fucking stupid and that they don't
Yeah.
make any sense.
Yeah.
So Davidson actually tells them to hone his craft and like take some months and months and like get better. And he tells
hmm
him to quit his job actually. And and Davidson is like super calm
hmm
all the while. Like he's basically rejecting Tom a little bit because it's not the immediate gratification Tom is looking for, so he pulls out a gun
Yeah.
and points it towards his head. And
Yeah.
then David Davidson is surprisingly calm and collected.
Yeah.
Like he's
The
not
whole
even
time he has a gun in
phased.
his mouth.
He's like not even phased by it at all.
Yeah.
So he gives him some good advice. So he does end up quitting his job. And in defeat, I guess he goes and moves back to Portland.
Oh,
There's
an important
another
last piece.
scene.
There's an important
Oh
last
yeah,
piece of
yes,
advice that Dave
that's
Davidson
right.
gives him. Yeah.
Yeah, so because David Davidson thinks that this shit doesn't make sense, he gives him a way to think about, okay, we gotta, how is this gonna make sense? You have to be the animal, you have to be inside the animal.
Yes, you have to get inside the animal.
Yeah, and that's basically him giving him advice because his shit doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
But he takes this advice extremely literally.
Yeah.
So on his way home, um, he sees this run over buck like on the road, like a deer, and he's like having a flashback to his discussion with David Davidson. You know, be inside the animal. So he ends up cutting the deer up, like eviscerating it, and he starts wearing the deer carcass and pretending to be a deer.
Yeah.
Like it's all bloody and gross.
I'm getting
And
inside the animal.
so he's crawling around the ground, pretending he's a deer with a deer carcass over his body. And he's just wearing like, I think he's just wearing like a bloody pelt with
Yeah.
I think the head is still attached and everything, and the
Yeah.
legs.
Yeah.
so, so while he's goofing around, like trying to get inspiration, he gets hit by a semi truck and
Yeah.
survives. Like
I
nothing
bet
happened.
I bet PETA didn't like this movie.
Yeah, I probably did not.
There's
I
a
don't
lot
think they would
there's a
have.
lot of like bestiality and other
Yeah,
fucked
there
up
is.
shit.
Yeah, there is a bunch of weird animal shit in this movie.
Yeah.
So, all right. So he gets hit by the tractor trailer. He makes another stop too, and this stop doesn't make any sense. You know, this is also his attempt to get inside the animals. So he watches some horses fucking while maniacally eating a sandwich.
I
Because I think it's
forgot
the
about that.
same. It's the same horse farm. I think that he passed by the first time, and he just watches the animals mate while eating a sandwich.
Oh right, yeah. Oh yeah, he ravenously eats like one sandwich and then I think he eats like a whole tray of others or something, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's like a tray of cold cuts or something like that. That was
Yeah,
weird shit.
yeah,
So he finally gets home. His neighbor greets him. There's just this neighbor. It looks like it's just a boy and his father. And then the boy trips and he just smashes his face right into the car door.
yeah. Which
Uh,
is why that running gag throughout the movie is that his father beats him, obviously.
yeah. So he's like bloody as hell. I think he breaks his nose or something like that. So he goes back in to his home with his parents, and he and his dad have an argument. Don't know the specifics of the argument. And then Tom, I guess his best friend is Harlan Williams in the movie.
Right.
I don't know what his name of his character is, but he is. I know they're outside. Gordon is making a shit ton of noise, and his dad pokes his head out the window and calls Gordon Harlan Williams faggots.
When they're working on working on the half pipe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shut up, faggots! It's 3:00 in the fucking morning.
Yeah. So I think this all the neighbors get pretty upset, and Harlan makes I guess he makes a observation. He's like, "Does your dad have like some bowel trouble or something like that?" And then his dad is just like kind of maniacally moaning, I guess, like a weird yell.
Yeah.
And I guess Gordon, they finally finished his ramp, and I guess this was something they had been constructing for a while.
Yeah, for years, right?
So yeah, so Gordon is like, let's enjoy the fruits of our labor. And Harlan's not really dressed for the task. His shoes aren't right for skateboarding. So there's another weird scene. Harlan falls and breaks his leg. There's like a bone protruding from his shin. It's like pretty gross looking. He's screaming, just like in pain, and then the dad comes out, like pretty pissed off because they're screaming. This is after they were making a bunch of noise building the ramp. And I think the dad takes a skateboard and throws it at him, and it lands on Harlan Williams' broken leg.
Yeah, right after he had fallen after trying the half pipe and like fucking broken the bone, cracked the bone out of the skin, out of his skin.
Yeah, it's super gross looking.
Yeah.
And the dad actually sees it, and he's like, "Oh shit!" Like it kind of shocks him. It's definitely a somewhat gruesome scene. And then, in Tom's attempt to help him, he starts licking the bone. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, it's gross.
Yeah.
And it cuts right there. His dad is like, "What the fuck are you doing, Gord?"
Yeah.
It's so gross.
Yeah, Tom Green is so fucking weird.
So, I guess they take him to the hospital, and this is where Gordon meets Betty.
Right.
Who, I don't know, she seems super odd when you first meet her. Extremely nerdy, kind of Aspergery as well.
She didn't seem anywhere near that way to me anywhere near as much as Tom Green did.
Well, no, but she's like super happy over flipping creamers.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of weird.
And she's definitely really nerdy, as we find out.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, I'm a rocket scientist." And then
no big deal.
Gordon asks her out, and she's a good-looking gal.
Yep.
And then there's like some emergency that goes on, and Gordon sees that she rolls away from her desk in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So he's kind of, I guess he's a little apprehensive. Because if we go back into the next scene where he talks to his friend about what just happened, about him meeting her, I guess Harlan Williams kind of guilts him a little bit. And he's like, "Oh, you're not going to go out with her or something because she's in a wheelchair?" And
I didn't remember that.
Well, because this is the scene. This is where they're going back to the hospital.
Oh, okay.
in the room with his friend and the pregnant lady.
Oh, right.
So yeah, Gord um, does pester Harlan a bit. I think he like starts shaking his broken leg.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So he does guilt Gord about him not liking her as much as he would because she's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And then I guess there's a pregnant lady in the room, and I guess she starts going in labor, right? Because what happens is Gord is in the room, he's goofing around, and he backs up and knocks over a cart,
Yeah.
and the pregnant lady just yells at him and tells him to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So this lady is starting to go into labor. There's like these two ethnic women on the other side of the room. They start banging on tambourines. I
Because
have
they
no
know
idea
she's going
why.
into labor.
Yeah, I have no idea why. It just makes no sense
No,
whatsoever.
the whole scene makes no sense.
Yeah, but it's funny. But anyway, um, like Tom sees that she's really going to labor, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you. I'm a real doctor." And the lady's like, "No, you're not. Give me some help." He puts on a coat, like a lab coat and everything. He yells into the stethoscope, like a lunatic, and then he tells the lady um, well, he basically starts helping her with the labor, and then the baby gets born and
Yeah.
everything.
You've got a baby in there. Come out to me. It's just like beckoning it, basically.
Yeah. And then like there's the umbilical cord, and the pregnant lady tells him he has to cut the cord, and he just bites through it.
Yeah,
There's like it's like super bloody. Like a
yeah,
umbilical cord, there's not a bunch of blood that just like goes everywhere, but
yeah,
apparently they do in this movie. So the woman is concerned because her baby is not crying. It's just completely silent.
yeah.
So Gord takes the baby overhead and starts flailing it around by its umbilical cord.
Yeah, that's the most ridiculous part.
So the baby is just like circling overhead, flying around, being swung by its umbilical cord. There's blood being splattered everywhere. The ladies are still playing their tambourines, and then the baby starts crying. It's like, oh, it's alive.
Yeah.
And like the whole room is just like bloody as hell.
Yeah,
The pregnant lady's like all bloody. He's bloody. There's blood everywhere in the room. And then Gordon faints.
yeah.
Eventually, he does get kicked out of the hospital. He says, "I'm a
Yeah,
hero."
not like at any point before he delivers a baby and bites off its umbilical cord and swings it around the room or anything like that.
And he's like, as they're kicking him out, he's like, "I saved the day. I'm a
Yeah,
hero."
I saved the day.
So at this point, Gord goes back to Betty's apartment.
That's right.
Um,
On the way out of the hospital, he sees her and he tells her that too, right?
yeah,
That he saved the day. I
yeah,
saved the day, Betty. I saved the day.
yes, yes. I think I'm looking at my notes here. Okay, so yeah, he goes to her apartment later on. I guess they're kind of having a date or something. And then he sees like her rockets and stuff. And I think one of the question he poses, because it wasn't working. She said that it doesn't work yet. Like her rocket designs, they're not finalized, and that she's having a hard time getting him to work. And he says, "Quote, does it make you feel like a stupid dummy?" Unquote. I
Yeah.
think he says that twice. and, and then
Yeah.
she just kind of talks about how much she likes rockets, and that kind of becomes like a big theme, like
Yeah.
her love of rocket science.
Yep.
Um, so it kind of devolves. She asks him to beat her in the legs with a bamboo stick.
Or evolves,
Uh,
depending on how you look at it.
yeah, well, because I'll say where it devolves is he hits her in the legs, like, and then he finally smacks her in the head with
Oh
his
yeah.
stick.
That was fucked up. He's like, sorry, I've never hit someone with a stick before. I don't know how this works.
Yeah, and then we go into the running blowjob gag. Um, she's very forward,
Yeah.
like
She
extremely.
practically like tries to sexually assault him.
Basically, like she's female sexually assaulting him
Yeah.
somewhat.
Yeah.
So she goes for his pants like constantly in this, but when she goes to try to undress him, she sees that there's an umbilical cord hanging
Tape-
out.
it's taped to his stomach.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, it's my umbilical cord. She doesn't seem that phased by it.
Yeah.
So they just, I guess she plays along,
Oh,
whatever.
that's weird. But I can work around it though.
All right, so we get to the next scene where it's like the next morning, I think, and then Freddie stops by at their parents' house to eat breakfast, and I guess he's just kind of bagging on. Not really. He's been kind of a little passive aggressive. He's just saying, "Oh, I have a job. I'm doing great on my own." Blah 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 blah. And then they start complaining about Gord because I think he's been in the shower for a long time. So his dad goes and checks on him, and he's wearing a fucking scuba gear in the in the shower. And then during that, there's like some children's song playing, and he's looking for hidden treasure. And this is when his dad calls him a retard.
Yeah.
So during this too, it was like he breaks down his door, he kicks the door down to the bathroom, and then he smashes Gordon through a glass shower door.
Yeah.
Like and he doesn't care at
Yeah.
all.
Yep.
So I guess once Freddie goes upstairs for breakfast, Freddie starts ridiculing Gordon about living at home. Um, and then they're doing their whole antagonistic back and forth thing. And he tells Freddie to cross his fingers for to hope that he gets a new job.
Oh yeah.
Their relationship is so strange.
Yeah.
So anyway, I guess he doesn't like Freddie either because of I think that's like the part where that antagonism really starts to flourish there.
Yeah.
So Gord has a little bit of, I guess, artist block. He was, I think, it's just smoking cigarettes and he can't figure out what to do.
Yeah. Smoking cigarettes and drinking.
Yeah. So next scene, we got backwards man to backwards man.
Yep.
And is Gordon wearing a three-piece suit backwards? And he is walking towards a mirror and then backing away,
Yep.
singing his backwards man song.
I'm the
At this,
backwards man. Backwards man.
so, so his dad comes in and sees I'm doing this. I guess he puts two and two together and thinks that Gordon got a job because he's wearing a suit and he
Yep.
has like a suitcase and everything.
Yep.
And then Gordon's like, "Oh, let me borrow some money." So he gives him $100. Um, so we cut to the next scene. There's some more like slapping at Betty's apartment. And then she tries to blow job rape him again. And then I'm sorry, Gordon is just like, can we go on an actual date for once?
Yeah.
So they go out to this nice restaurant. Looks like a nice restaurant. And when you first cut to the restaurant, it's actually Gordon's parents. So his mom and dad are out for dinner, and they're kind of happy that they're kind of out and about and not having to deal with Gordon. And the dad like makes a weird like cunnilingus gesture face at his mom.
Yeah.
I guess kind of like a
He's
portends
like
of what's gonna
he's
happen.
like licking all over his lips and stuff like that in a really creepy looking way.
Yeah, and it's because he thinks that Gordon has a night job, but that's not the case. So, um, I think the dad talks to like a waiter and something. And he's like, "Oh, I need to spill urine." I was like, "Okay, that's an inventive
Yeah, that's the weirdest
way,
way I've ever heard anyone say that.
yeah, to take a piss." That's I never heard that one
Yeah.
before.
The closest to
And
that is that one guy I used to work with, he would say, I have to urinate. Say, okay, that's pretty technical. You go ahead and do that.
I gotta spill urine. Okay, so also at this restaurant is Andy, and he's the little neighbor kid, and his dad is there. So we cut to Tom. Why I keep calling him Tom? It's Gordon and Betty. They're having a nice little date, and he's in his suit. He's also lying to Betty that he has a job, so he's
Yeah,
trying to he's trying to make it seem like he's. And the thing is, when he first met Betty, he told her that he was like a stockbroker or something like that.
yeah,
So they're at the restaurant. He has like a fake, it's a cordless phone that he's pretending to be a cell phone. He
yeah.
has a recording device that he presses. It's like a tape recorder, and he presses it when it rings.
Hmm.
Um, he has a very heated conversation with nobody because nobody's on the other line.
Yeah. And he
He's making,
pretends to be getting mad and saying, I told you to send that through on Tuesday, you fucking idiot.
yes, and he
That
starts
sort of thing.
screaming about 40 million Deutschmarks. Um, and Bob
Yeah,
is, I
that's what
believe,
it's.
the made up person. And then his dad actually sees him there, and he's like, "You're supposed to be at work. What are you doing here?" And then Gordon's like calling his dad Timmy, like he's one of his subordinates. His dad just gets
Yeah,
super
that's
pissed
Timmy.
off, and he starts making fun of his girlfriend. Starts making fun of Betty, like right in front of him.
Yeah. What is
So they
what does he
start
do? What does he call her? He calls her like uh
horror.
retard horror retard horror cripple,
Yeah, something like that.
something like that.
Something really offensive. So
Yeah,
we get
when he
into
calls
like
her
a
when he calls her that, she says, "I'm not a retard."
But the horn, the criffle,
Yeah,
that's fine with her.
yeah,
So they get into a fight, like a weird altercation. Um, I think they're like it's a physical altercation because they're like being physical with each other.
yeah.
Eventually, Gordon jumps on top of a bar and starts seltzering everybody.
Oh yeah,
And they're just screaming. So they actually get arrested. Well, at least Gordon does for sure.
yeah,
Um, so Betty bails him out, and Betty knows the jig is up, that he was lying, and then he tells her, "Yeah, I'm an animator." And she tells him, "Well, you just have to learn how to relax. You just got because he's having like this funk." as demonstrated earlier, he's kind of having artist block. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to make a cartoon that makes sense. That's like the whole mission is for him to make a cartoon that makes sense. So she just tells
Yeah.
him to relax, eat and play music and
Oh yeah.
relax while you're working on your animation. And he thinks
Mhm.
he has to do this all simultaneously.
Yeah.
So he's like, how can I do that? I only have two arms.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like, she's like, okay, you crazy guy. Anyway, the next scene is one of my favorites. Tom is playing his keyboard. He has sausage hanging from the ceiling that are tied to, I guess they're tied to his hands. It has like some crazy pulley system to
Yeah.
feed himself while playing on the keyboard and drawing. And I think Harlan Williams shows up first. Um,
Yeah.
but I forgot what discussion they have. But the dad comes and he's like, "Oh, I gotta get out of here." And that's where you hear the "Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages?" He plays a stupid song. He sees his
Yeah.
son there doing insane shit that doesn't make sense.
And he plays like one note on the keyboard. Daddy, would you like some sausage? One way off key note.
Yeah, it's like not even musical.
It's
He's
a
just playing
terrible
like
song.
two notes. He's playing two chords that are not good. They're like really ugly sounding chords. So his dad breaks the keyboard, just smashes it. The dad likes to destroy shit. That's something that we see throughout the movie. So
Yeah.
he breaks the
He's
keyboard. He goes outside. He hooks his skate ramp up to his truck's winch, and he winches it out in the middle of the street. And he drives straight through the ramp and basically destroys it.
yeah. He's got some serious anger issues. He should try
Yeah,
some marijuana.
yeah. So he basically drives off after that, and then Gordon is super pissed off. So he's really mad at his dad. He tells his mom basically to cheat on his dad.
Mhm.
It's
I would
just
just
weird.
have sex with, like, basketball players and just anyone, you know?
And there's more to that later, but they actually end up going to therapy, and this is kind of where the movie gets its title.
Yep.
Um, so they go to therapy. They try to talk it out. Um, so once they're in the therapy, the therapist talks to Tom. Oh, I keep calling him Tom Gord, and Gord makes an accusation that his dad fingers his little brother. It's like his dad's outraged.
He
I
molests
think
Freddie. He puts his finger in him, and he holds his finger up like this and wiggles it.
yes, and then I believe he just says his dad's a molester, and then Gordon picks up a bust statue and tosses it through the window.
Yeah.
Like this part makes no sense, and then he just jumps out the window.
Yeah. He's
Like,
so fucking
okay,
crazy.
this doesn't make any sense at all. He threw it.
Yeah.
The guy who accuses his dad of fingering his little brother throws his statue through the window and jumps out the window.
Yep.
Later, we get a scene where Freddie, I guess he's at his parents' house. I don't know why, because he
It seems like
supposedly
he's at
lives.
it seems like he's at his house, maybe. Does it seem like the
No,
same
because
house?
his mom was there.
His mom was
Because
there?
they show up. Like, okay, so I remember
Oh,
the
okay.
mom showed
I
up
knew
at
that
the
I knew
end.
that they showed up. I guess I didn't I guess I kind of assumed that they showed up at his house, but that wouldn't really make sense.
Yeah, because it's alluded that that Freddie doesn't get paid that much. Otherwise, he
Yeah,
wouldn't be stopping at their parents' house for free breakfast.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, so he probably
So yeah, for Freddie's watching like videos of someone going through surgery, and a social worker shows up, and they're like, "Oh, we got to take you away."
Is little Freddie here?
It's like I'm Freddie, and they're trying to they basically tell him like, "Oh, why they're taking him is like I'm
And he
25. I
and
don't get paid."
and he keeps saying over and over again, "My dad doesn't finger me," but they always say, "It's okay. It's okay. You're safe."
But even then, it doesn't make sense because he's 25. So they take him away, and as they're taking him away, um, they're there. The parents are there, and I know that because the dad calls the social worker a bitch as they're leaving. So, did you get disconnected? Oh, okay, here you know. Okay.
Yeah, I got cut out.
All right, so drunk dad comes home and he's really mad, of course, at Gordon for his lies at the therapist. And he starts ripping up Gordon's drawings. Um, and then Gordon's like, "Fuck you, dad." And it gets really weird. His dad starts pulling down his pants and like demanding Gordon to fuck him. The mother sees this, so this affirms that he's a possible child molester based off of the behavior that she's
No.
actually able to witness.
Oh, that's weird. I got cut off for a second there, but I didn't lose my internet.
Oh, what I was saying is, this is the scene where it's down in the basement, and he pulls his pants down and tells Gordon to fuck him he's, because he's drunk and he's acting fucking weird.
And he says,
So,
"Fuck you, Dad. Fuck you. Fuck me. Fuck me right here, right now."
Joe goes way overboard with that. The mom sees what's going on from the stairwell, and in shock and horror, uh-oh, he got cut off there.
No, that was my last one just got
Oh,
kicked out.
I
Yeah,
okay, because I heard it.
yeah.
Okay, so the mom, shocked in horror, drops her coffee cup. It breaks. The dad realizes somebody was watching, but she's gone by the time he takes a look.
Hmm.
And the dad is very ashamed of Gordon for his weird antics and all of that other crap that he's pulled. So, because the dad is ashamed, I guess Gordon gets motivated to apply at a cheese sandwich shop.
Uh-huh.
So, because he thinks he's a loser or something. And he's kind of dejected. He's down on his luck. He visits Betty, and she's kind of out like in a runway or something with a rocket wheelchair.
Yep.
And he kind of explains that he's going to give up on his dreams. He makes fun of Betty's dreams of the rocket wheelchair
Hmm.
and kind of pretty assholish in this whole deal. But she sticks with it. He's kind of given up with everything.
Yep.
And then the next thing we see Freddie at the Institute watching a horror movie with a bunch of kids in white get-ups. It's really weird because he's the only adult there, and it's like an institute for molesting children, and he's not even a child. Well, anyway, we go back to Tom or Gordon, and he's at his new job, in his cheese sandwich shop, and like one of the customers is very upset about his cheese sandwich.
Yes.
Do you remember what happens there?
Oh, so he doesn't think his cheese sandwich has enough cheese, and Tom Green goes, "Oh, that would be terrible. It would be awful if someone could do that. I could lose my job." And as he's talking, he starts putting a bunch of cheese, and then he puts an unreasonable amount of cheese, and then he just starts putting heaps and heaps of cheese onto the sandwich, and then he just throws the guy a whole huge pile of cheese, basically.
Yeah, it's like a huge pile of cheese with bread on the top and bottom of it. And the customer gets upset about this sandwich because it's obviously like inedible.
Yeah.
And Gordon tells him to stick it up his bum bum.
What am I supposed to do with this? Well, you could stick it up your bum bum.
So we go back. Tom's going home, or Gordon's going home, and his mom is moving out. And this is because she actually saw his dad's behavior and how fucking creepy it is, and the whole child molester narrative seems more true than not.
Yeah, especially with
And
what you saw.
yeah, so she's getting the hell out of there, and that one little kid gets hit in the face again with the ball.
Yeah. His dad's throwing a baseball, and he gets distracted when what does he get distracted by?
He gets distracted. Um,
It was like Tom, it's like or no. Tom's not the character's name, but he or his
Gordon.
dad. Yeah.
Well, the
It's
dad's
one of
not there. I know the mom. The mom is moving out. Oh yeah, the
Okay.
dad is like, I think he's trying to keep her there, and he probably says something.
Some of his
Um,
like loud yelling or something like that.
well, it was loud yelling in regards to like the charges of molestation,
Oh yeah.
and that's when the neighbor overhears that part of it, and
Yeah.
he's not paying attention, and the boy gets hit in the face with a ball again.
Right.
And then we cut back to Gord at his job, and he's mopping the fucking tables.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is he doing? He's mopping tables, and he's just like, he has no regard for any of the items placed on the tables. He's just knocking that all over.
Yeah.
And then there's like, while he's doing that, a news report is on the TV, and it shows Betty. And there's like a news reporter that's like on the scene where Betty actually successfully completes her rocket wheelchair, and it works.
Yep.
This actually is a turnaround for Gord. Um, his stupid boss comes out. It's like some teenager, and Gord quits his job. He's like, "Fuck this shit. I'm out of here." Gives the teenager the mop. Um, and I think we get to another scene because the dad is pissed off because the dad's life is being ruined. Excuse me. Allergies. So, in the dad's quest to hunt down Gordon, he attacks Harlan Williams to ask where he's at, and Harlan gives it up that he went to Hollywood. Um, Gord goes back to Radioactive Studios. He yells Japan 4 and a bunch of other gibberish. And he goes up and he finds David Davison and starts pitching him his new ideas. And it's Zebras, and what was it? Zebras in America? Is that the name of the cartoon he's trying to pitch?
Yeah. It's like
So
people who are zebras on the bottom but human on top. What are the like? Zebra version
Zebra
of centaurs,
centaur.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
zebra centaurs.
So during the presentation, the Gord's dad busts through the office. But before that, the secretary asks what the hell he's doing there, and Gordon's dad throws the secretary through radioactive barrels.
Yeah. She just gets mistreated for the entire time that she's in this movie.
And then, so the dad, well, David Davidson, upon seeing the dad, think it's an act, and that's part of the pitch.
Yeah, and he loves it
Out
for
of,
that reason.
yeah, this actually, his dad convinces him that it's a good
Yeah,
idea, even
because
though,
he thought he didn't believe him before he actually saw his dad in real life. He thought,
well, he
no, there's
saw the
no.
character.
Yeah,
He's like, he thought the character was ridiculous, and it's obvious from seeing the Zebra character that they're based off of his family.
yeah,
And then when he sees the dad, he's like, "Oh, I get it." And then he sees the dad acting crazy, and he's like, "Oh, this is a great idea." He's like, thought he was a hired actor, so he greenlights the cartoon, and then we get kind of like a little taste of the zebras in America, and it's mostly a
ridiculous
high
shit.
pitched. Yeah, it's mostly like a high pitched. Uh, to me, it kind of reminds me of like Itchy and Scratchy and a little bit of Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah,
But most of the pitch is composed of like the Tom Green zebra telling everyone to listen to his hooves.
yeah. Oh, listen
Listen
to
to
my
my
hooves,
hooves.
hooves.
Listen to my hooves. So, bam, he gets a check for $1 million, which is I thought wasn't that much. It seemed a little light, but oh well, they give
Yeah.
him a
What do
million
you
dollars.
what do you think like the average would be for something like that?
Well, he's selling a show, so in 2001, it depends. If it was like a real network show with a couple million, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
anyway, he visits his friend Harlan. I guess Harlan Williams works at the bank, and he shows him that he has a check for $1 million, and he takes 100 grand of that, and he rents a helicopter. So he flies by Betty's apartment, and he's like, he basically tells Betty, "Oh, you're my inspiration. Look what you helped me did." And he gives Betty a bag of jewels.
Yeah.
Like, here's the bag of jewels. Like, okay.
And then she
And she
says a
says
great
she
line
doesn't
too.
care. She said she doesn't care about the bag of jewels. She just wants to suck his cock.
Yeah. One of the best lines of the movie.
So Tom Green, I guess he has some more money left. And he doesn't really tell us what's happening, but you see that there's like a construction crew outside of his parents' house, and he's like, "Well, I have like $850,000 left, and
750.
$750,000 left.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care, get it done."
Because remember, it
Uh,
was the $100,000 for the helicopter
mhm.
ride, and then 150,000, I think it was, for the jewels, something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right, the jewels. I forgot
Yeah,
about those.
yeah.
All right, so he goes in Splinter Cell style into his dad's house, um, with the whole nine, like night vision goggles, silenced gun, and the music choice for this section is from StarCraft. It's like during the cutscenes for the Zerg. I was like, okay, interesting choice. Most people don't know that, but I
I did
caught
not
that.
know that. I played
Yeah, it's
StarCraft before, but it was a long ass time ago.
Yeah, it's the music for when you're playing the Zerg campaign
Okay.
and you're like at your base and you're talking to your generals or whatever. But it's that music um in the movie. So I was like, oh, I recognize it. How strange. So
Okay.
he darts his dad, and I guess that his dad wakes up a week later,
Yeah.
and he gets up. He's checking the faucet, saying, "What the fuck happened to the water?" And then he opens the front door, and he's like in the middle of the fucking desert, and there's camels. And his house, it's basically, I guess they chopped a section of the house and they hoisted it on a pole on a flatbed truck.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the fuck is going on here? And then Tom is like driving the truck and he starts speeding along with his dad there. I have no idea why he would want to do this. It just makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
So they crash the truck. Um, Dad gets launched out. The little section of the house falls on Tom, but Tom's standing right where the glass is, and he's goes through the window, kind of like a
Yeah.
cartoon.
I've seen that in
And,
at least a few different movies. Really.
yeah, so so his dad is super pissed off, of course, like usual, wants to kill him. He chases him, and then Tom sees a damn elephant, sees its penis, and gets
Gets
kind of like the
excited.
horse scene. He gets excited. He goes to the elephant penis and ejaculates onto his dad like a fire hose. And
Yeah.
then, and I think it's not a real penis, obviously, but he gets kicked. Checks to see if his dad's okay. The horse, I'm sorry, the elephant hits him, and he
Yeah, he
falls right
kicks him
next
or
to his
something, right?
dad. Yeah, the elephant like kicked him in the face because his face was all jacked up.
Yeah.
They have a reconciliation.
Yeah, which
Um,
is an odd time for it in the movie.
yeah, so he tells his dad that he sold the cartoon and he got $1 million for it.
Yeah.
But he didn't tell him that he blew all the money, but he did tell him that he got $1 million.
Yeah.
And they
That's what
were
I was thinking too. Like, didn't you just run out of all your money? I hope they're still gonna keep paying you to keep making new shit for the show.
yeah, he's broke unless he takes back that $150,000 in jewels.
Yeah.
But
She doesn't want them anyway.
so while they're reconciling with each other, they get captured by some villagers and put in the cage. Um, so they become basically like POWs, I guess. And then the way that his mom finds out about it, she's basically in bed with Shaq, and Shaq is kind of upset that I don't know exactly why Shaq is upset, but he's not happy with the
I had
mom.
it.
He had it.
I got disconnected. Uh,
Oh,
I figured out that there's probably a problem with the modem on my laptop, so I'm connected through Ethernet instead of Wi-Fi, but the cable just got disconnected.
oh, so when the cable came out, it disconnected you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to explain the Shaq scene. So she's laying in bed with Shaq, and then Shaq's complaining. I think he's complaining that he doesn't feel loved or something like that.
Yeah, he's done all these things for her, like pierce his nipples.
He shows like his gyrations. He does gyrations,
I got
and
cut out there again for a sec.
no, he just does like his little gyration thing that he does for Gord's mom.
And he got his nipples pierced and stuff.
Yeah. So next thing that happens, did you get disconnected again? Yeah.
No, I'm still there.
Okay, because I heard the doo-doo-doo. So next
No,
thing that
it kicked
happens,
out my last one that got frozen from last time.
okay, so I think it shows them next. He and his dad are having a drinking contest, and they have really long beards, and they're very disheveled.
That's after they've
Uh,
gotten captured by terrorists in Pakistan, right?
yeah, so they get captured. Like the mom, that's how the mom sees them on TV. It's this whole big thing. Freddie, it shows Freddie watching them on TV, and then it shows Freddie on the couch with the kids from the institute. Except Freddie has long hair and a huge beard now,
Yeah.
and that's not even explained at all.
And his dad does, and his and it shows that his brother does too for some reason.
Yeah, I have no idea why the brother has like a POW beard. Well, I guess it kind of makes sense because he's trapped in that institute. Maybe
Yeah.
they don't provide him with shaving
I was thinking it
utensils.
was I was thinking at first isn't it kind of fucking weird to put a grown man into a home for orphaned children of pedophiles? They're putting a grown man in there with the children who were victims of pedophiles.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
So, they get an extremely patriotic welcome home. It looks like they get rescued by spec ops and everything, and there's like a very lots of pomp and circumstance. And finally, they're coming home. The kid is always getting smashed in the face. He gets real excited and runs out to greet them. The dad's like, "Oh no, I forgot the name of the kid. Andy, what are you doing?" And then you just see like blood spraying everywhere and like the sound of a propeller grinding something up. But the kid is like, "Oh, I'm okay. I'm okay."
Yeah, like
Well,
how could he possibly be okay?
yeah, maybe just his legs got chopped up. I don't know.
Maybe.
And that's kind of where the movie ends.
Yep. Did you see one of the that one of the those signs that people were holding when the plane landed was when the fuck is this movie going to end?
Oh no, I didn't see that sign.
Yeah, yeah, that's what one of them said.
Oh yeah, I know Zebras in America rules or something like that was one of the signs.
You forgot the last part though, where he talks to Betty. Isn't there a last part where that part we were talking about earlier, where they're talking to each other and they're using like romantic tones, and she says, "I just want to suck your cock."
Well, that's when he gets the jewels, right? When she gets the jewels.
They don't do that at the end too. Maybe I'm confused about that.
Maybe she makes like the gesture, like the dick suck gesture.
Yeah.
Because remember, she's waiting in the crowd and he's like waving to everybody,
Oh
and
yeah,
he looks at her and she does like the dick suck gesture.
yeah. I don't even know how to do that. Like, oh, that one. Yeah,
You know which one I'm talking
yeah.
about.
I know. On the side of the
So,
mouth.
yeah, like who puts a dick in sideways?
Only porn stars.
I don't even think they do that. It's sideways.
Yeah, I've seen that in porn.
Oh, well, yeah, I've never seen that, the sideways deal, but
Doesn't sound like that much fun, actually.
getting poked in the cheek.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's the end of the movie. And then I have kind of like a little blooper reel at the end.
yeah. That was funny. Like the I like the last part where um he's covered in that deer carcass, and he at one point he just goes, "What the fuck are we doing here?"
Yeah, I would. Well, yeah, from what I know, he wrote the movie, so
Yeah, he
he
directed
wrote
it
the
too.
actual. Yeah, he wrote it, he directed it. It's basically all him.
Yeah,
You're getting it straight from the mind of the maniac himself. I'm glad they let him do what he wanted to do.
yeah.
Um, because I don't think a movie like this can be made today.
That's what I was thinking. Like it's as offensive as you can fucking imagine.
Like you cannot make this movie today.
Yeah.
It's
It's like
you'd have
it's
Pete, you
like
have Pete up your ass. You'd have the PC crowd up your
Oh
ass.
yeah, definitely. Definitely.
It's just something that cannot be
There's
made
like
today
there's
at
like
all.
bestiality, misogyny, they say retard, all sorts of other.
Yeah,
Oh, like he's swinging a fucking baby around by its
the
umbilical cord and
umbilical
blood's
cord.
going
Yeah,
everywhere. Like, and he's like
it's
jacking off horses and elephants, all
it's
sorts of
definitely
terrible
a
shit.
product of its time. Like I don't know if this movie is going to be a classic. To me, it is because I grew up with it, and I always thought Tom Green was hilarious. But yeah, it's definitely not something that can be made today.
Yeah.
But if it was, it'd be extremely toned down.
If it was,
Cause I,
it would just be like, yeah, it would either be really censored or it would be banned everywhere.
yeah, because I'm trying to think of Jackass, but I don't think in Jackass it's it's not misogynistic.
Yeah, yeah,
They don't do any weird bestiality thing.
yeah. I've seen one of those. I've seen one of those movies in the theaters. Forget which one it was, but
Yeah,
yeah, I
it's
mean,
mostly just stunts. That's kind of what they do. They don't try to. There's some things that they do in the public, but they're not half as offensive as the stuff that Tom Green did.
yeah. You know what the
But
rating was? Because I was just curious. Because it seems like
It's R rated.
it's R. Wow. How
Yeah.
did it? I guess it didn't get an NC-17 because there weren't depictions of female orgasms, right?
No, there were not. I guess unless you
As
consider
we
him
know
beating
from
her
this
with a
film, it's not
cane.
yet rated.
Yeah, there weren't any sex. It didn't show any actual sex. It
Yeah,
didn't show orgasms. It didn't. There was no nudity.
like the only perhaps orgasmic part was when he was hitting Betty's legs the first time, and she was making sounds like she was having sex.
Yeah, that was about it.
That's pretty like PG-13 though, actually.
Yeah, because I was thinking, because the other day um, I was watching 40-Year-Old Version, and it has way more sexual stuff in it than thought I remembered.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I
And if
man, when I watched that movie, like it might not have even been that recently, like a year or two ago. The last time I watched it again, I was thinking when I was watching that one, man, they couldn't make this movie today.
mm, yeah, maybe because I know you don't really see that many movies in that vein anymore. Like, what are your what type of what are your modern rom coms from today? Because 40-Year-Old Version's definitely a romantic comedy. I
Yeah,
can't think what are the most recent ones? That doesn't seem to be a category that's big anymore.
yeah, I don't know. Like in terms of raunchy comedies, for example. I mean, like a newer one I'm thinking of is Superbad, but Superbad, all the bad stuff is talking. There's no
Super
like
bad, yeah.
they're teenagers having sex, but they've got like their clothes on, and they're not even actually having sex in the scenes, really.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's like
But yeah,
drawings of dicks and people swearing a whole bunch.
yeah, but yeah, it's what to call it. Yeah.
You remember? Did you know that the guy who played McLovin in Superbad, he was 17 when they filmed the movie, so he was not allowed to see the pictures of dicks because even though they were cartoons, they were considered porn, and he was
What? I didn't know you can't. What? You mean
yeah
like?
he
Well, you
wasn't
mean the photographs? You
yeah he
couldn't look
wasn't
at
allowed
that.
to look at the cartoon dick pictures.
Oh, even cartoon
Yeah,
versions? That doesn't
yeah,
make sense because
no,
you can look into a health book and there's gonna be like pictures that people drawn of penises and
I
vaginas
think it
and
was
hips.
like I think it was something to do with penises being shown in a comedic way, like that's too impure or something like that. That would be my guess anyway.
Hmm. Yeah, that's weird. But yeah, one of the things too is I've listened to a lot of Tom Green interviews of him talking about the movie, and
Oh,
like
cool.
not these are like retrospective talks. So I've listened to him on some recent podcasts because everybody wants to ask him about the movie because it's super ridiculous. And
Right.
he made it for himself. He says that he's very much aware that either you're going to absolutely love the movie or absolutely hate the movie.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's no real in betweens. You're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. Um, and I'm pretty sure it got a lot of hate. I think its rating is actually pretty low amongst critics.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. It's not like the type of movie that movie critics would like, I would say.
They probably, well, it's probably a movie that would offend them. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Like they would
Like
just be offended by all
there's
the
no
weird
plot
critics. Yeah.
structure. There is character development though.
There's a little bit of a plot there. It's like disjointed, but there's plot. Like he's trying to become an animator,
Yep.
and there are small steps of him doing that. But there's all this other stuff that they throw in between, like
Yeah.
the problems he has with his dad. But him and his dad are basically like the stars of the movie.
Yeah, basically.
And his dad is played by Rip Torn. I think that's the name of the actor.
Yep.
Yeah, that has to be a stage name.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that.
Rip
I'm pretty
Torn.
sure it is. Rip Torn.
The dad does a really good job in
Yeah.
that role. He probably is the best actor of the movie. Because
Yeah.
Tom is just being himself, basically.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's would you recommend this?
Yeah, I would, especially if you have like a raunchy or twisted sense of humor. Probably I would not recommend it to people who don't have raunchy or twisted senses of humor.
Yeah, it's one of those movies you gotta be careful about recommending.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to recommend it. Like I would never recommend this to my mom. I don't think she'd like this at all.
Yeah, my mom wouldn't like this either.
I know some of my friends liked it because we liked Tom Green, but I'm probably sure super uptight and like really uptight people are not gonna like this
Oh yeah.
because there's just too much.
Like my friend's mom too, who's a really super Christian person.
Yeah, I don't think a super Christian person is gonna enjoy this. They're probably gonna think Tom is the devil.
Yeah,
And
he basically
especially
is.
for the horse stuff, the baby stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool movie. It's funny. It's funny and subjective, but I find that hilarious.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I was laughing. Like I wasn't expecting to laugh as much as I did when I saw it in theater, and I didn't. But there were the scenes. Just that hospital scene. It's just too funny.
Yeah, definitely.
I was like, okay. I was debating, okay, what's my favorite scene? Is it the hospital? Is it? Well, I did laugh again at Daddy, would you like some sausage? So
Yeah,
stupid. But yeah, it's funny. If you like a spectacle, it's definitely a spectacle.
yeah,
If you haven't seen this, if you watch it, you will see something that you had never seen before, unless you're just a complete deviant.
yeah.
Unless you're a complete deviant. If you have not seen this movie, expect to see something that you've never seen before. Just some
Yeah,
crazy and weird shit in this movie.
yeah,
All right, so I'd say I give it a thumbs up. I think you give it a thumbs up.
yep. Thumbs up.
Now, what is it that you're reading? Are you still reading Old English?
No, I finished that. I've been finished. Well, I just finished reading Deleuze's Philosophical Lineage, which is a book about mostly Deleuze that I've been reading and taking notes on for the series on Deleuze that I'm doing on my podcast with Tim Keefe and Polish Christian Bale.
Hmm.
And the first one that we did was with Adam Hansen actually, and
Wow.
yeah, and I've been what else? Oh, I'm gonna start reading American Gods today
Oh
because we're
yeah, you
gonna
gotta
do that.
wait.
Yeah, we got
I'm
that
behind
chat in
too.
next week.
I am behind. I've only read
Yeah.
150 pages, so I gotta move my ass on it.
Oh yeah. I'll have to read a lot to finish this because it's like a 600-page novel, right? Almost.
Um, well, some parts of it are not like I know a portion of the back is just like authors, some kind
Yeah,
of notes and authors like in
yeah, and in the
reviews and
book,
stuff.
in the version I have here, there's an excerpt from Anansi Boys after the end of the novel and the acknowledgement.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not sure which the version I have. I guess this would be the most recent, which is the one where he actually updated the novel.
Oh, okay. I
Because
think
I
I've
know
got the older one because when I just looked it up on Goodreads, it had a different picture from the picture that's on the cover that I have.
the one I have is a picture of the tree, and
Okay.
there's like a yellow thing that says now on stars because of the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have the picture of like what looks like a god casting lightning into the air on a road. I don't know if you can see it that
I've
well
seen
there.
that cover before.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was gonna buy it, I was thinking of which one I wanted to buy,
Oh, okay.
and I chose the updated one. I was really close to buying a hardcover, but the hardcover wasn't the updated one, and
Oh,
I
okay.
wanted the updated one. But
Okay.
I'm about
Yeah, I've
halfway through
also
it.
I also listened to some other audiobooks this week. I listened to I listened to one called Stories of Old Greece and Rome. So it's about um, Greek and Roman mythologies and gods and myths and that sort of thing. This is pretty
Mhm.
interesting. All the stories of the Greek and Roman gods are like really violent and filled with murder and betrayal and that sort of thing. Like those gods are
Hmm.
very extremely human. And
Yeah, I just bought a leather-bound copy of Bullfinch's Mythology.
oh, okay.
So he's like one of the first people to translate the mythologies from Latin to English.
Oh, okay. Cool. I have a book on I think it's a book of Latin myths or something like that that I haven't read yet, but
Mhm.
sounds like it might be similar. Well, I
Yeah, because he
also
goes
listened
through the
to
old Greek mythologies. He goes through um, Greek. I know he goes through Greek, and he goes through some other more contemporary ones. But yeah.
like Christianity or?
No, what was it? So we got Greek, we got English, like Arthurian
Oh, okay.
mythology. So yeah, he goes through Arthurian, and then there's a third one, but I forget which one it is. The book is like 500 plus pages, big
Oh,
old
okay.
leather bound book. Well, I
Oh,
got it
okay.
from Costco for $15.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's the one
Yeah.
the type of ones you were telling me about that are a particular edition that are cheaper, right?
Yeah, every time I go to Costco, I'm gonna buy one of those leather bound books. I think the next one I'm gonna get is probably Grimm's Fairy Tales.
Oh, right. Yeah, you were telling me about that. Yeah, I think I have a book of that somewhere. I don't think I've ever actually read any of the original ones other than maybe when I was a kid.
Yeah, there's a
Mm.
shitload of them, and they're very short,
Yeah. Yeah,
like a few
definitely.
pages.
Yeah.
But what
I've
else have you
also
finished?
I also listened to an audio book about the what is it called? I think it was the history of England from the accession of James II. Yeah, it was about that period of history with the Anglo-Saxons and them being attacked by the Danes and the Franks and the Picts getting involved and the like this whole shift from pagan mythology to Christianity and all of the wars and power struggles that were going on and the changes in language, like how I'm not sure if I actually got this from the audiobook I was listening to or from that collection of old British literature that I was reading about, but it was something about how for a certain period of time um, the preferred language of British aristocrats was French after the British Empire tried to take over France. And I think they might have
That's
even,
weird.
yeah, yeah, I thought that was interesting. Like the French aristocrats would go around being like, "Au revoir, I am proper British speaking French."
Yes, the tower. I
The
don't even
tower.
know what the escargot. Ho ho ho.
Oui, oui. Oui, oui,
Wait,
senor.
wait. Yes, Chardonnay. Ho ho ho. Merlot.
Mademoiselle, toilette.
Uh, omelette du fromage. But
Oh,
yeah. Ho ho ho.
du grand fromage.
Du fromage. Ho ho ho. But oh, that sounds cool. So it's a history of the power struggles of I guess the Anglo-Saxons and how the culture evolved in that and
Yeah,
back then.
yeah, I've been reading a lot about that lately.
Yeah, a lot of history there. Well,
Yeah.
me, I'm just still reading a shitload of fiction because right now I had a bunch of stuff that's on the wait list just drop on me.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like I'm trying to catch up because the stuff that's been on the wait list, I do not want to go back on the wait list because some of it took forever. So I'm really trying to get through this stuff.
So, are you reading like 12 books at once right now, or something like that?
Not at once. Like I do prioritize certain books based on how long they are and how long I've been waiting for it. So I completed the fourth book of the Belgariad and the fifth.
Oh, cool. How
Uh,
many are there? Are there five in the series, or are there more?
well, David Eddings, I think, wrote 12 books in that universe. In that specific series, there are five,
Okay.
and that's the Belgariad series. So I'm actually completely finished it. Last book was awesome. So now that I'm finished with those, I also finished The Magician's Nephew, which is part of the C.S. Lewis's Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe series, or Narnia.
Which one is that in the series?
That's the first book, but it's not the first. It's the first book chronologically, but it's not the first book that he published.
Oh, right. I think we were talking about that before. The first one he published was Lion, the Witch, and the
Witch
Wardrobe?
and the Wardrobe, yeah. So it's a prequel. I
Okay.
got. I started by reading that, and since I'm aware of the story because I've seen the movies. I remember when there was like a masterpiece theater special of it. So I'm aware of the story. So it wasn't like if I started with this prequel, I'd be completely lost. I was
Right.
not. So I started with that, and I did that also because the Legendarium also started with that as well.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, finished that. Now, what I'm listening to currently is Stormlight Archive, which is one of Brandon Sanderson's series that
Oh, I thought
ties
it
into the
sounded familiar.
Cosmere,
Oh, okay.
one of his Cosmere series books. It's called um, A Way of Kings, and it's in his Stormlight Archive series that is still ongoing. So it's
Okay.
still a current series he's working on. Also ties in with this whole Cosmere, which has some ties to Mistborn. So I'm trying to keep an eye out. And the magic system is super similar, so it really does remind me of Mistborn. But then again, like this is in the same universe, so some of the ways that magic work, it's different, but it's also the same. Like it seems like they can exist in the same universe. It's hard to explain unless you
Okay. It
checked it
sounds
out. But
similar to what we've talked about a few times before, I think, which is the Isaac Asimov's Robot series and his Foundation series. If you read both of those, you notice that they seem to take place in the same universe with the same rules and stuff like that too. Although I don't think there's any overlap with any of the characters, but you can tell that they take place in the same universe.
yeah, and this in Sanderson's books, it's in the same universe, different planets. But
Oh,
there are specific realms that some of these characters meet each other, like in Secret History, which is one of the novellas in the Mistborn series. Actually has some characters from his other book series in it.
oh, okay.
And I don't fully understand it because I don't read any of the other book series, so I might. Because what I'm gonna have to do is read these other series and then revisit that book to
Okay.
see what was really going on. Yeah. So yeah, Stormlight Archive. I think it's super long because the audiobook is like 45 hours.
Holy shit. Huh.
So that's be a really thick book.
Yeah.
Uh,
That
so yeah, that's what I'm.
uh sounds like maybe length of one of the Wheel of Time books.
Yeah, because I know the first book was 27 hours.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so far so good. Right in the beginning, you get your classic Brandon Sanderson style combat, and you're drawn right in. It's just
Oh, cool.
boom.
Yeah, his
Like
combat writing is really immersive, as we've talked about before.
yeah. So right from the prologue, you get some of that. But it's fairly different from his other books because when I'm thinking about Mistborn, like all of the POVs, there's only really two or three POVs, and they're not as disjointed. I'm not that far into the book, but they're introducing a lot of characters that don't seem to know each other or are connected.
Okay.
So I don't know like how far he's gonna go before he ties these characters together.
Okay.
So you're just right now. It just seems like I'm reading all these separate stories, wondering if these characters are going to converge at some point.
Is he the type of author like maybe somewhat similar to George R. R. Martin who might like introduce a character only to have them end up not having anything to do with the major story or they get killed quickly or something like that?
No, he
No?
typically doesn't do that. No,
Okay.
'cause I'm thinking of all his books, and the POVs are fairly limited. He doesn't grant POVs to a bunch of different characters. Like in Mistborn, it's like two or three at the most. No,
Okay.
four, I would say. But they're all like really well established characters that are very important to the story. Um, but yeah, in this one, there's like already been six or seven. So I'm only like less than 10 hours into the book. And I
Oh,
do
okay.
not yeah, and I don't know how these characters are tied to each other yet.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens there. But it's been pretty good so far. I'm actually really enjoying it. And supposedly this is supposed to be one of the best of the works that he's done. So I'm looking forward to that.
So do you like it more or less than Mistborn so far?
I like Mistborn a lot because one, I really love roguish stories. And Mistborn, right from the bat, you're dealing with thieves and
Oh,
people
okay.
sneaking around at subterfuge and people laying out a plan, like a heist. It like has a very much heist feel to it.
Oh, okay.
I really love that about Mistborn, and I've always been drawn to roguish type of characters.
Me too.
So far I like the characters from Mistborn
Oh,
so
okay.
far more than I it's really hard for me to judge because I haven't even finished the first
Right.
Stormlight Archive book yet. I
Right.
do love the creativeness though of the world. It's really interesting. The world itself that he creates for this Stormlight Archive series, the cast system, so far a lot more interesting because Mistborn really just centers around one city, and the other Stormlight Archive seems to be a little bit more expansive.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
More
So we'll
like
see.
more similar to Wheel of Time in that way.
Yeah, like Wheel of Time, they're basically globe trotting, and you get to know a little bit about each of these different cultures. It seems like I think Stormlight Archive is going to be similar to that. Mistborn does explore it a little bit more in the second trilogy, but even then, it's just like only one other culture that they really explore. So, yeah, we'll have to see because he's still working on this book series, and he's actually technically still working on Mistborn.
Oh, okay.
And I have to see, like, I've read 9 Mistborn books. I've only read this one Stormlight Archive. It's hard to compare them right now.
You said there are three series in Mistborn and they progress forward in time? Like three
Well,
different
there's a
series?
plan. There's at least 3 planned trilogies. They have the original trilogy, which takes place, I guess, in a more medieval slash Victorian setting. There's the other era, era two. That's more contemporary, and they have like guns and stuff, and trains, and more modern accoutrements. And then Sanderson said he's going to work on a future series that's more sci-fi that's based in the same universe.
Right, right.
Yeah, because
So
the
the so which like You said you've read 9 books, right? So are those uh of those ones that you've read, what like time period do those fall into?
Well, that's the first and second era. So is it nine? I read eight, I think.
Okay.
So the 8 books, there's the original Mistborn trilogy, and then there's a book called Secret History, which is a novella based off of one of the characters in Mistborn that takes place. It's actually concurrent with the. It's concurrent with two concurrent with the second and third books in the original Mistborn series. That's four. And then in the second era, there is three that's been released. So I don't know. So I've read 7 so far.
Okay.
There's
So
supposed
you
to be another one released in Era 2.
okay.
There's going to be
So
another book.
so you
All
haven't
for
read
Era
any
3.
in the like the future more scientific time
Oh,
period?
he's not even finished with the second era. He has one
Oh,
more
okay.
book in second
Okay.
era before he can start with the sci-fi stuff.
Okay. Okay.
And then I'm working on Stormlight Archive, which is also not complete.
Okay.
I guess he writes a shitload of books. He
Yeah, it
just
sounds that way.
churns them out. Yeah.
Sounds like
'Cause I think,
a little like Stephen King in that way.
yeah, because I know he has all these different, he has like these concurrent series that he works on. And he also writes like novellas and short stories. And I think there's like some other weird kids books that he writes that I haven't really taken a look at.
Okay.
I don't think I really plan to because they're pretty much for kids.
Okay.
They're not like adult fantasy or anything like that. But yeah, it's gonna be 43 hours, and then after this book, because I just finished Xenocide, which is third Orson Scott Card book in the Ender series.
Mm-hmm.
I also have that waiting for me. So that will be book 4 of the Ender Wagon saga.
How many are in that series?
Just in the Ender Wiggins saga, there's 4, but there's like a ton of other books in that universe.
Oh, okay.
I think there's like a total of 13 or something like that. Because they
Oh, wow.
do prequels, they do um, the first Formic War, which is when the very first time they fight the buggers. There's a second Formic War, and then there's Ender, and then because I think in the chronology, the last of the Ender books is actually the end of the series. Because a lot of the other writings were prequels,
Oh,
or
okay.
if they weren't prequels, they were concurrent events
Hmm. You
that
think they'll make
focused on
more
one
movies
character.
based on that series?
I don't know. The first book is very much movieable just by what it was.
Yeah,
The
I could tell
second
that when I
book,
was reading it.
the second book doesn't have a whole lot of action in it. It's
Okay.
not. It's not anyway like the first book when it comes to combat. Uh, uh, I'm thinking about the second book, and there's not really any combat. It's just like a story about um, humans meeting another sentient race. And there's like there's like a couple deaths and like a mystery about it, and they're trying to solve that mystery. I would say it's more like maybe a thriller than the other book, which is more like a space war movie.
Hmm. That sounds interesting.
And
I
then
think
the third book would be, I guess, psychological thriller. It's
oh, okay. I didn't know
is it
that the I didn't know that Well, no. You did actually tell me before that the second and third books were pretty different from the first one.
Yeah, they're very different. Like there's some
Yeah,
weird sci-fi stuff that happens in the third
yeah.
book
I think I
that
was
has to
saying
do
before.
with
I think it was saying before when you told me that it makes me want to try the series again because I liked the first book, but not enough to read any of the sequels. But it sounds like, based on what you said, that I might like some parts of the sequels more than the first book.
yeah, I think I actually like the second book better than the first book.
Okay.
Yeah, because the second book, it's Andrew's an adult. Andrew's an adult.
Okay.
Um, and he's trying to rectify his wrongs. He feels deeply ashamed of what happened in the first book, of wiping out an entire alien race that had a very heavy, weighed very heavily on his shoulders, and he wants to avoid doing that again at all costs.
Right.
And the second book is about discovering another alien race and basically trying to identify if they would be a threat to humanity or not.
Right. Okay.
So a lot of it is about that. The third book, there's a lot of philosophy in it.
Oh, cool.
Um, Lots of philosophy about, is AI alive? Is like, how do we treat extraterrestrials or other sentient life if they are completely hostile? Should we wipe them out completely? There's like a lot of philosophy about religion too in the third book,
Oh, okay.
because there's I think one of the characters is Catholic priest, another character is extremely religious. Um, it's like an Eastern religion. I don't even think it's a real one. I think it's made up for the book,
Oh.
but it's based on Eastern religion though.
Oh, okay.
Um, there's a lot of stuff about genetics and viruses, and that can a virus be sentient? There's like some weird philosophical questions in the third book.
Oh, okay.
And then the end of the third book has some really trippy sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, that was unexpected. But I don't think it's as good as the
Back
second
and
book. I
cover.
thought the second book was really good.
Okay. Oh, that
Oh
sounds
yeah.
cool. I should check those. I should check those out again. There's so many, there's so many books that people recommend to me, like so many from you and so many from other people that it always takes me a while to get to every one of the recommendations that I get.
Yeah, those are definitely hard. Like, I still haven't even finished the Straight A Conspiracy. Just have so many goddamn books to read.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
It's
it's a good
hard.
problem to have though. It would be worse.
Yeah, it is.
It would be worse in the opposite direction, way worse.
Yeah, and then I have
Yeah.
that H.G. Wells anthology that I just bought.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm
you mentioned
definitely,
that.
yeah, I want to check out some of those other stories because I've read The Time Machine recently, like within
Did
the
it,
last year.
did I tell you that I listened to War of the Worlds on YouTube. On YouTube, there's the original broadcast by Orson Welles reading the War of the Worlds, his original radio
Oh,
broadcast where people thought there was actually a Martian invasion.
oh, the one that freaked people out. There was one in South America that actually got people killed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they did a Radio Lab episode about it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that it actually ended up in people dying.
Wow.
Yeah, I think like it was pretty crazy.
Yeah. Holy shit.
It was a War of the Worlds, but they redid it for think it was in Brazil that it happened. May have been Brazil or some other South American
I
country,
don't think it
but
would be considered socially acceptable for radio stations to troll people like that nowadays.
no, no, it'd be hard to as well. I don't think it would be
Yeah.
as easy. Well, no, but radio stations do troll people. They just don't do that. As they
Yeah, I
don't do
guess.
those cheater shows where they call people up to admit that they've cheated on someone.
Oh, really?
Well, there's this radio thing they do. It's like they call somebody, like, okay, so somebody calls the radio station suspecting their partner of cheating. So the radio station calls their partner pretending that they've won like a free bouquet of flowers. And then they ask the person who they want to send it to. And if it's not the person's significant other, then yeah, that person's been caught.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's the way that radio stations, I guess, troll people.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I was thinking maybe they do some April Fool's Day jokes on people too. I don't know.
Well, yeah, they might do that. I think they still do prank calls and stuff, so they definitely troll people.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't. Yeah, it would be hard for that to fly. I don't even think people are invested in radio that much.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be funny if Joe Rogan maybe did something, but now that the show's
Yeah.
live anymore, it might not have the same effect.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Why did that happen?
No clue. Nobody knows.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Um,
weird.
yeah, I don't know. I really don't care either. It doesn't really change much.
I didn't even notice. So
Well, I never watched them live, so I really don't. It doesn't matter to me much.
yeah,
I
yeah,
always watch them after the fact.
yeah. I don't think I ever watch any podcast live while it's going on.
Yeah, so well, yeah, that doesn't really change much for me. I don't have to listen to it live. I always listen to it usually a week later. Really depends on who he has on. Sometimes I have to watch it immediately. Really depends.
He does so many episodes that I have to be selective with which ones I watch. Back in the day when he used to produce episodes less frequently, I would watch every single episode. But now I only watch or listen to it if it sounds like someone really awesome, which still happens all the time.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 a week now. I can't keep up with that.
Yeah.
I usually will check and see who he's had on for the week, and if it's somebody I want to check, like I know what I need to finish the Graham Hancock one. And
Oh, that
then,
one was awesome. I love Graham Hancock. That was
yeah,
the first time he was on Joe Rogan was the first podcast I ever watched / listened to.
that was the first
Yeah,
podcast you ever listened to.
yeah. I
Oh
hadn't
wow,
watched or listened to any podcasts before, and I remember I had seen his first comedy special on Netflix. That's I think it's just called Joe Rogan Live. And I remember him kind of waxing philosophically at the beginning of the special before he started doing his comedy special, and he was talking about how humans are like humans are like the mold on the sandwich and we have to eat that sandwich or something like that. Like he was talking about how if aliens were looking down on Earth from their perspective, it would look like humans were some sort of infestation or something because they move to an area and use all the resources and then destroy the area and then move to another area and that kind of thing. And I was thinking, that sounds pretty deep and philosophical for a stoner. So I looked up videos of him on YouTube and I saw that there were excerpts from him and other people talking on his podcast. So I watched a few of those and then I saw that he did some like 3 hour long podcasts and I was thinking, I don't want to fucking watch or listen to something that's 3 hours long. And then eventually I did anyway, and I listened to that Graham Hancock stuff or the Graham Hancock's first episode, and that was the linchpin that led to me watching and listening to all the other podcasts that I watch and listen to now, and to getting involved with mixed mental arts into starting my own YouTube channel.
Yeah, the first time I watched Joe, I think that was when Milo Yiannopoulos first came on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, maybe the
that's an
first time.
interesting one to start with.
Yeah, well, this was like during the Gamergate heyday, so I wasn't. But that wasn't the first podcast I listened to. The first one I listened to was Retronauts, which is like a retro video game podcast. They just talk about old video games and the histories behind those.
Oh, okay, cool.
But I think there was this other one I was listening to. It's called Retrocade or something. It's just about things from the 80s. They just talk about 80s stuff. Like one week it'll be about E.T. The other it might be about like G.I. Joe's or something. They're just old 80s stuff. But yeah, those are the couple first podcasts I was listening to. Like they were all video game podcasts basically, like the Game Informer show or Retronauts. That was just stuff like that, One Up show. So they're all heavily skewed towards video games. Because
Oh,
they
okay.
didn't get into political stuff until around Gamergate, which is 2014. So I wasn't. I was just doing my game stuff. And I got a little bit more political during Gamergate. So I was saying, "Oh, what's all this political shit invading my video game shit?" So that's what
Oh,
happened.
oh, that's interesting. So that's how you got into that sort of thing, hey?
Yeah, because politics are invading my video games.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
They were getting involved. I was like, "What's all this political BS? God damn it! Just want to play video games."
Nice.
But yeah, those were my first podcasts. First Joe was my first MMA was when Hunter popped in on Joe's podcast.
Oh yeah.
I think that's when a lot of people learned about MMA. That was kind of like a big deal.
Yeah. I was talking about this when Chris James from Mixed Mental Arts was on my podcast a while ago, that both of us were listening to Mixed Mental Arts back when it was called the Brian Callen Show at first, before it ever became Mixed Mental Arts. I started
So
listening.
You were aware of mixed martial arts
Yeah.
back in the day then.
I started listening to the Brian Callen Show, because I watched Joe Rogan podcast with Brian Callen on them, and I thought, wow, this guy sounds even smarter and more well-read than Joe Rogan. And this was back when I thought Joe Rogan was a genius. So
Oh yeah, well he's always bringing up books that he's read and talking about history and philosophy
yeah.
and Hans. What's the guy's name?
What guy?
The Hans. The guy that made the Cyclone A, Cyclone B.
I'm
The
not
German
sure.
scientist that he talks about all the time.
Oh, you're not thinking of the one who got captured during
Fritz
Operation
Haber.
Paperclip?
Fritz Haber.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different guy. Yeah.
He talks about Fritz Haber all the time.
Oh, okay.
Cyclone A and Cyclone B.
I was thinking of
Have you
Werner
seen
von
that
Braun.
clip?
I think I have.
The clip of him talking about Fritz Haber on all his different appearances
I'm not sure.
on Rogan.
I'm not sure. I probably have, because I'm pretty sure I've seen every episode he's done on Rogan, but I don't remember.
He talks about Fritz Haber a lot. There's like
Okay.
at least 5 different shows where he's brought up Fritz Haber.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I haven't. Like, I came late to the game for podcasts.
late
I don't
bloomer.
really think I started listening to them until 2012, and I was just listening to video game history podcast.
I'm not sure when. I'm not sure when it was actually that I started listening to podcasts. I don't know. Might have been like
Yeah.
6. You might have still started before I did because I'm not sure how long Joe Rogan's podcast had been going on for when I
And
started.
it's been going on, I think, since 2011,
I think it started in 2010.
2010,
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, he's been on for a long time.
yeah. But yeah, I remember. Hmm.
So you started watching it when Red Band was a host.
Yeah, when Red Band was his co-host. Yeah, I don't know why he stopped being his co-host and why Jamie started being basically Brian.
Because Red Band has his own show with Phil Tony.
I know he runs Death Squad, but does he co-host the other Death Squad podcast?
I know he appears on Kill Tony.
Okay.
And that's Kill Tony is difficult because it's a lot of open mic comedy, which tends to be really bad.
Oh, okay.
But it's also a very good look at what beginning comedy looks like when someone's just starting out. At least to me,
Sounds
at least.
sounds like it's probably shitty when you're first starting out.
No, it definitely is. Like if you listen to us Kill Tony, there's a lot of really bad comedy. And the funny thing is, you have comedians there judging these people, so they're basically roasting them about how
Oh,
bad they
okay.
are.
Man, if I did stand-up comedy for the first time, I don't think anyone would laugh. I don't think I would get the timing right or anything like that.
Oh no, that'd be horrible. I'd suck. I'd just probably just yell obscene and outlandish things for no reason. Like, your mother sucks cocks.
I was thinking you'd be good for that deadpan style because of your monotone voice.
Well, yeah, I'd have to do either a bunch of one-liners and just because I know Tom Segura has a very deadpan style.
That's true.
Like he doesn't act like the other comedians. Like they kind of perform.
Yeah, Rogan
And
performs, and Brian Callen
Tom
does too.
Segura does not perform.
Yeah, no.
That's a special skill.
I think I think if I was a comedian, I'd probably be more of a Tom Segura than anything else. Because he
Yeah,
doesn't perform. He's very straight faced delivery.
I think
Um,
I
very
think I'd be
deadpan.
more of a performer. That's just what I feel like I would want to do. But I mean, I
I
don't know.
feel like I'd want to do it, but I don't think I'd be good at it.
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering about myself too. Like I might be more naturally inclined to the more deadpan sort of style. But I don't know.
Yeah, because it's funny seeing like the transition to regular Joe Rogan to stand-up Joe Rogan. It's like a different
Yeah.
human being.
Yeah. Stand up Joe Rogan is like his uh his alpha male side on steroids basically.
Yeah, and then you take a look at Joey Diaz. It's like no difference. Same
Yeah.
thing with Tom
Yeah.
Segura. No difference.
Yeah.
There's definitely a difference with what's his name, Kevin Hart.
Oh
Because
yeah.
Kevin Hart definitely ramps it up quite a bit when he's on stage.
Yeah.
So there are some people that do not change much, and some who do. I know Joey Diaz is basically the same person on the stage than he is off the stage.
Yeah, it
Oh,
seems that
good
way.
coffee. Do you know how to say coffee in Japanese?
No?
Kohi.
Kohi.
Yes. That's how you say coffee in Japanese. Do you know how to say milkshake in Japanese?
Milkshake.
Almost. It's
Really?
Miruku Shaky.
Morocco shake. That's funny.
Miruku Shaky.
Miruko shake.
Yes. There are
Okay.
a lot of words that are just English said in a very Japanese way.
I kind of said it like Italian the first time there.
Yeah, you know what? I feel so bad because I still need to watch Callan's special. I've just been so busy.
Food special?
Callan's.
Oh, no, I haven't watched it either.
Yeah, because I wish there was like physical copies of it out there somewhere. Because if there was a physical copy of it, I'd buy it.
His specials
Because
should be
I'm
on.
always, well, it's on Amazon, but you got to purchase it.
No, okay.
And the problem with me is I'm very apprehensive with purchasing digital content.
I am too.
I really like physical content. Like I'd love it if you had a Blu-ray or DVD, I'd buy it. No questions asked.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like, oh, you can buy it on video on demand, like, feel a little bit naked not having that
Yeah.
physical copy.
If I'm watching like digital copies or digital content or something like that, I prefer doing that on something like Netflix.
Yeah, another thing too is that you purchase digital content and then that content has no value, has no tradable value.
Yeah. And you were
So
saying
like
that
if you
depending on the content, sometimes it could be deleted too.
yeah, some content gets deleted. Like usually it's licensed content. So like for instance, we're talking about video games. Like there's Capcom games where they have Marvel superheroes in it and all that other jazz. If Capcom loses their license, then that game will no longer be playable. You basically just lost your $50
Right.
that you used to purchase it.
And the licenses are temporary? Like they have to
Yeah,
be renewed?
licenses are always temporary. Yeah, you gotta
Okay.
redo them. But if
Okay.
you got a physical copy, then you kind of don't have to worry about that problem.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
That's why
mentioning.
anything that has a Marvel in it, I always buy a physical copy of that.
Oh, okay. So you're a big
Anything with
supporter of the
Disney,
MCU.
yeah, Disney, you gotta buy digital copy. Anything that has licensing in it, or it's another studio licensing another creative property from somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I really do want to. I think I might just go ahead and rent Kellen's special.
Oh, you can do that?
Hopefully, yeah, you can rent it for like $2 or $3, I think, from Amazon.
Okay.
But I want to make sure I find the time to just sit and watch it. That's the only problem. Because when
Right.
you're renting something, you're like on a time limit. So you're like, oh shit. Like, okay, I got 2 days.
You can
So I'm
watch it
gonna
when you're
watch
at
it.
work on the weekends like now, couldn't you?
I could, but I usually do. I'd rather watch it without being interrupted because I wouldn't be able to do that here.
Right. Okay.
'Cause, yeah, like sit and watch it. But I don't know. I've had a physical. Maybe I need to go to his website, see if they sell a physical copy. I doubt it though, but I really need to see the special. I saw him live, so I know some of the contents of the special, but
Oh,
I
did
know it's not the perfect version of it.
okay. When did you see him live?
He was in DC in 2017.
Oh, okay.
I think that's when I went and saw it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun. Hung out with Isaiah and Hunter, Kate.
Oh, okay.
Alex Bella was there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, some of the. It was fun.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, saw the Emperor, had fun, had some drinks, and all that
Cool.
other good stuff.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time. I really enjoyed that.
Cool.
Um, yeah, we got off track there. But yes, reading, so much shit. Um, I'm just reading multiple series at the same time and trying to get through them. As I
Okay.
know, finished the Belgariad, and there's another second series that David Eddings has.
He has like at least he seems to have a handful of series or so.
Well, the series is in the same universe, so I don't know if he has some other ones that he has, but I do want to check out the second one. I really like the world building, and I think the best thing about David Eddings' writing is probably the humor and the banter between characters.
Oh, okay.
He's very good at writing exchange dialogue between characters. I think that's his strongest attributes.
Like characters that have a good dynamic and back and
Have
forth.
good, yeah, they have good banter.
Okay. So which of his series is that one that you want to try reading?
It's called, I think it's called the Malorian or Malorian. I think it takes place after the first series.
Oh, okay.
After or before, I'm not sure.
Is it one of the ones that's in the same universe you said?
Yeah, it's in the same universe, same planet.
Okay. Okay.
So some of the characters might, I think some of the characters might be shared within the two. So I have to see. Before
Okay.
that, I'm trying to debate whether I want to buy my physical copies of those David Eddings books first.
Hmm.
But I
That's
think I might hold off on the second series for a while because there's all this. I'm starting Narnia soon.
yeah.
Well, I've started it. And then I'm
Might be
doing
hard to
Starlight Archive, and then
yeah.
I'm still doing Enders
Man, I
series.
usually try to like if I'm reading a series, just read one series at a time. Because otherwise, like for me, if I'm reading like several series at once, I start to get confused. Like not mix up like what's happening in which place, but lose track of what's happening in one particular series because I have to keep track of so many different series.
Well, for me, it's no different than me watching 3 or 4 TV shows.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I I,
It's no,
I tend
it's
to
like
do
I don't lose track when I'm watching TV.
I tend to
The
do that too. Yeah.
only time I lose track is if I stop for stop a series for a while and come back to it.
Yeah.
If I'm consistent, then I'm okay. Um, if not, then it gets difficult. And I know that would probably be difficult for something like Game of Thrones, where there's like a ton of characters in it.
Yeah.
It'd be really hard to follow unless you're like intensely concentrated.
Yeah.
But I think I will want to get back into. I think once he releases his other book, I'm gonna reread the series.
That was supposed to come out. I
Book will
thought
be
that
out
was
this
supposed to.
year.
I thought that was supposed to come out last year. What's it
It's
called?
been,
The
yeah,
Winds of Winter, right? I think
yes.
that's what it's called. Yeah, the
Mhm.
Winds of Winter.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Apparently, George R. R. Martin said there will be unicorns in the Winds of Winter.
Well, there's no unicorns in the show, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah. It's still no. You're right. It's still not out. I guess I probably would have heard about it if it had been released.
Yeah, people would be freaking out.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah.
Man, I think it was supposed to come out in 2018, but it's not surprising that it's taken longer.
Like, when did the book 5 come out?
Let me see. Is that the one that's Dance with Dragons?
I think so.
Dance. Holy shit. I just typed in "dancing with dragons" was the first thing that popped up.
You just put dance and then with dragons was your
Yeah,
auto complete thing.
government's monitoring me, man.
Yeah, I had a weird one the other day too that I was looking up. I was like, really? This is your first suggestion? I think, yeah, I think I was looking up Freddie Got Fingered and I just put Freddie and Got Fingered was the first selection.
Oh wow, it's almost like it can read your thoughts sometimes. It's creepy.
Yeah. I think there was some other one too.
Dance with Dragons came out in 2011.
Dude, he's way fucking behind, dude.
Holy shit. I hope he's still gonna
Like,
be alive by the time he finishes the series.
I think he's gonna pull a Robert Jordan.
Die with the before the last few books get done.
Well, he only has 2 books. I don't know if he's gonna finish the last book. He's probably gonna hand it over to Brandon Sanderson to finish.
That might be cool. It was cool to see what Brandon Sanderson did with Robert Jordan. It might be cool to see what he does with George R. R. Martin too.
Yeah, I think it's like George R. R. Martin. I think is quite different though.
True.
This
He
is
is.
like super sexualized, um, more political than anything else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll see.
There's a lot of political scheming.
But we'll see. But you know, if he writes the last book, then it's not going to be like all combat.
Yeah.
So
That would be all right.
it would be no, it wouldn't be a hindrance for Brandon Sanderson if he's given the last book. That's going
Yeah.
to be all combat. He'd be the perfect person to handle that.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah.
That
So
might-
next week, are you ready?
I will be. I might have to binge on some reading before then, which I don't mind.
Yeah, because it's like at least 500 pages, right?
Yeah, the copy that I have, I was just looking at it earlier, and it's 588 pages.
Man, that's a thick book. Yeah, I've done about half of it. I'm hoping I can finish the. Like technically, I've listened to the audiobook completely. However, I've been reading the book, and it seems there's a lot I've missed. So
Okay.
I'm glad that I'm actually reading it,
Okay.
and I do want to see if I can complete the read by the time we talk about the book next week.
Okay.
And then after that is The Great Hunt. So I got to toggle that with all
Yeah.
the other series I'm reading.
Yeah.
And try to get that done. I don't think
Gotta
The Great Hunt's going to be that hard because I can listen to that at 2 times speed.
Yeah.
So it's no problem.
I'll probably do that. I'll probably do that too, as long as I can get the book out of the library.
Oh, yeah, I have the whole series on audiobook on my, backed up on my hard drive.
Oh right, yeah, you told me that.
I think I have everything except the last book. Just strange. I don't know why I don't have it.
Hmm.
But yeah, and that's where we're at, man.
Cool.
So our next 2 episodes, next one is going to be American Gods by Neil Gaiman. Actually Neil Straitman, I think.
Yeah, I think he has a wife.
I think he's that persuasion. Yeah. So Neil, and then the week after that, we're going to be talking about The Great Hunt, which is book 2 of The Wheel of Time.
Yep.
Damn, we still got many more books to go.
Yeah. 12 more to go after that one?
Yeah, well, if we're going to cover New Spring, then 13.
Right.
So lots of books.
Yep.
And I think eventually maybe we'll touch upon Game of Thrones, maybe. So
Yeah, that'd be a good
I
idea.
haven't listened to any Game of Thrones podcasts. I don't even know. There's probably like a billion of them out there.
Oh yeah, I bet we can totally nerd out even harder than with Wheel of Time.
Well, yeah, there's only like 3 or 4 Wheel of Time podcasts, and I only listen to one of those.
You listen to two, kind of.
Oh, I guess Legendarium kind of counts,
Yeah.
but there's like 4. I think there's 4 that are dedicated specifically to Wheel of Time.
Oh, okay.
But I only listen to the Watt spoilers.
Oh, okay.
Because I know there's the Black Tower, there's the White Tower, there's Everybody Hates Rand, there's some other ones.
Really?
Yeah. Everybody Hates Rand.
Those are all three of those are interesting sounding perspectives.
I've actually listened to a couple of the Black Tower ones. One notable Black Tower episode is when they have Michael Kramer and Kate Redding interviewed on it.
Oh, cool. They read the audiobooks.
Yeah, so they read Wheel of Time and Brian Sanderson books.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember you told me that. Now that you mention it.
And the funny thing is Kate Redding is British. She reads the book. She doesn't read the book in an English accent.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I love what's his name?
Michael Kramer.
Yeah. Great. But yeah, man. So that's what we're gonna do next week. I guess it's time for our little outros here. Where's the
Sure.
plugs, man?
Yeah. People want to, they can check out my YouTube channel. It's Mindgasms. I do lots of podcasts with lots of great people like Dusty. I'm talking tomorrow, as long as it works out this time, with Dusty and Drew Sample and Read Nice Wonder, and do lots of episodes with members of Mixed Mental Arts and lots of other great people. And I make videos about ideas like I probably will continue at some point this series that I've been doing on Foucault's history of sexuality. And I also read chapters of my novel on there. And then people can check out my blog if they want to at mindgasms.theblogpress.com, where I publish chapters of my novel that I'm writing and short stories and poems, and of course blogs too. And I'm on the social medias, the Facebooky Booha and the Twitter at Andrew Meitzer, and Meintzer is my last name spelling with my weird German last name. And yeah, that's it.
All right, great. And you can always check out Mixed Mental Arts. We have all the different social medias, so it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Lots of discussion and activity in the Facebook group, where we discuss politics and lots of stuff surrounding that in a respectful manner. So
And
I wouldn't say,
sociology and philosophy and history and all sorts of other stuff.
yeah, all of those super intellectual uh, categories that people find very boring, but we
Yeah.
do. We actually find them very interesting.
Yep.
So that's worth
Cult
checking
of
out if
nerds
you're
is
into
what we
that.
are.
Yeah, and we got subgroups about books and music and all the other cool stuff. So check us out, and thank you, patrons, for assisting us with helping us keep going. And I know we should have something. I know Hunter and Brian are trying to work on some new episodes for you guys. So stay tuned. So thank you, everybody, and I'll see you next week.
All right. Adios, everyone.